Today we walk you through a powdered sugar shake and discuss the efficacy of this method to find your mite counts. I have here with me two of our graduate students, Skylar and Smith, who are going to be modeling a sugar shake for us. So we're going to suit up here. For those of you who have never done a powdered sugar shake, it is very similar in its steps to an alcohol wash. We're going to demonstrate it on two colonies here. First of all, we need to find a brood frame with some mixed ages of brood, capped and open, because that's where we expect to be the nurse bees to be on, which is where we'd also expect to be most of the mites. So we'll let them work through the colonies and find an appropriate frame here. So those colonies are not very large because we are entering the winter season, but looks like there's some cap brood on here. One important aspect of taking any bee sample for finding your mite counts is that you want to check the frames for the presence of the queen. You do not want to sample the queen, especially not in this season where we don't have any chance of replacing the queen really. So Smith is going to look for her. Once we're sure that the queen is not on the frame, we are gonna shake the brood frame in a kitchen tub and wait a few seconds for the older bees to fly off. This is also a good opportunity to double check that the queen is not in your bee sample. Once Smith is ready, he's gonna collect a half a cup sample of bees and is gonna place them in a mason jar that will be covered with a screened mesh lid. Once the bees are in the jar, the fun part starts where we're going to put 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar through the mesh lid onto the bees. You want to make sure that you're using fresh powdered sugar, not sugar that has been sitting in a humid area and is clumping. That makes it infinitely more difficult to get it onto the bees, but also is not ideal. Once the powdered sugar is in the jar, you can see here that you want to roll the jar to cover all the bees in the powdered sugar, making sure that the jar faces somewhat upright. So that not all the powdered sugar is just falling out of the jar. And you just keep rolling until all of the bees are covered with powdered sugar. Skylar found her brood frame, double checked for the queen. Smith, do you think all your bees are covered? Yeah. So once that is all good, you can place them in the shade and let them sit for a couple of minutes. That encourages the bees to start grooming themselves off and hopefully grooming the mites off of their bodies. Oh, you will add the screen lid first before adding the powdered sugar. Otherwise all your bees are going to be out of the jar. And 2 tablespoons. You can return your sample bees. And I have here a white smaller tub where I'm gonna pour in some water, and you'll see here in a minute why we're doing that. Okay, Skylar, you can roll your bees. So you want to make sure that your bees are sugar coated really nicely. All right, now that the bees have sat in the powdered sugar for a couple of minutes, we're getting ready to shake the samples to dislodge the mites. Both Smith and Skylar have a white tub in front of them with some water in it. After they shake the bee sample over those tubs, the water is going to help to dissolve the powdered sugar and make the mites a little more visible. So you guys can go ahead and shake your bees pretty vigorously for a minute or so. Don't slow down. Gotta shake them pretty hard to get your mites off. Skylar, you might be a little too gentle. Keep going. We're almost done. All right, that was 1 minute. So you can put your jars down and maybe swoosh around the water a little bit to like see the mites and get a count. Smith?
5.
5 per 300 bees, so it's like roughly 2% infestation. Skylar?
I think
9 per 300 bees, so 3%. So Skylar's colony had a 3% mite infestation, or 3 mites per 100 bees, and that is commonly used as a economic or treatment threshold by beekeepers to employ chemical control against Varroa mites. So the next step for this hive is to identify a treatment that is appropriate for the temperatures and the environmental conditions right now. For a list of treatments that would fit for your situation, you can go to the Honeybee Health Coalition. They have a really great Varroa management tool that is an interactive tool. But right now we did the powdered sugar shake. I would definitely encourage you to also check out our video on how to use the alcohol wash for Varroa mite monitoring on our YouTube channel.